To a certain degree, they can be controlled by material knowledge. They can never be entirely eradicated until the individual understands the exact nature of himself. In the New Testament, much emphasis is laid upon the fact that man is the living temple of the living God. This thought is of far greater import than the average person comprehends. It implies that the ceremonies and rituals enacted within places of worship obscurely signify certain processes and adjustments which must take place within the body of every individual who would become religious. Christianity was the outgrowth of the ethical teachings disseminated by that illustrious Son of Man, Jesus, the Christ Enid. Jesus was a member of the Essene order. The Essenes were a community of holy men, living in a rambling lamasery or monastery on the side of Mount Tabor. This community was a branch of a much older organization having its headquarters near Lake Mauris in the heart of ancient Egypt. The abstract origin of the Essenes has been a matter of much controversy. Some believe them to have been of Brahmin or Buddhistic extraction, while others claim that they were the outgrowth of Pythagorean speculation. Be that as it may, the Essenes were an ascetic group bound together by mutual ideals and aspirations. They existed in the Holy Land as evidence of disagreement with the orthodox interpretation of Jewish theology. Their purpose was to study and interpret the writings of Moses and the prophets according to the secret doctrine which they realized existed beneath the popularly accepted version of the Scriptures. Little doubt exists that Jesus was educated by the Essenes, instructed in their secret teachings, and afterwards initiated into the Essene mysteries. The Gospels preserve the story of his initiation in their description of the wanderings and temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. Robed in the white seamless garment of the Essenes, with his hair and beard uncut according to the fashion of the Essenes, Jesus wandered forth preaching and teaching the secret doctrine of the Jews, and, because of the knowledge of the inner workings of nature which come to those who understand the law, performing miracles and possessing powers beyond the comprehension of ordinary men. In the simplicity of their lives and the loftiness of their ideals, the Essenes represented the true principles of mystic Christianity. They also represented pristine Christianity inasmuch as they were renowned throughout Asia Minor for their wisdom and integrity. Learned in medicine, law, astronomy, and music, the Essenes were employed by the Roman officers stationed in Judea in the capacity of scribes, tutors, and general instructors of the young. The Essenes were Orientalists in their methods of living. They prayed, meditated, and fasted like the holy men of the Far East. And they attained spirituality by consecrating themselves to the service of humanity and the impersonal dissemination of truth and righteousness. The first ideals of Christianity were concerned with healing the sick, cleansing the lepers, raising the dead, and casting out demons, by which the early Christians desired it to be understood that they healed those who were spiritually sick, that they cleansed man from the leprosy of sin, that they raised him from the death of ignorance, and that they cast out of him the demons of avarice and lust and passion. During the first centuries of Christianity, the Christian faith, like the pagan doctrines in the midst of which it was established, was celebrated in the form of mysteries. Gradually, the Church grew up about the mystery until this secret doctrine in Christianity was apparently lost sight of. At least it disappeared from the sight and cognition of the world. Realizing in common with the true philosophic minds of all generations that all religions are in reality steps in the unfoldment of universal truth as a whole, it becomes apparent that Christianity preserved within the structure of its outer doctrine the same secret teachings which were the prized possessions of the Egyptians, Persians, Greeks, and Brahmins. All arts, religions, philosophies, and sciences may be divided into two general divisions, theory and practice. In other words, religion may be considered as twofold, speculative and operative. We have had nearly 2,000 years of speculative Christianity. During this period, atrocities unmentionable have been perpetrated in the name of the lowly Nazarene. 1,000 times has Christ been crucified by his church. Speculative Christianity has sent Christian nations at each other's throats in war and conflict. It has persecuted heathendom. It has blessed the munitions of war in its cathedrals. It has forced the Prince of Peace to march at the head of armies, whose avowed purpose was conquest and plunder. Speculative Christianity has resulted in the faith promulgated by the man Jesus being split up into countless contending factions who by their lack of charity for each other demonstrate their lack of understanding. Speculative Christianity has become a vast material institution, already deeply enmeshed in the bonds of commercialism, competition, and crystallization. While speculative Christianity seems hopeless involved in its theories and notions founded upon the shifting sands of theological opinion, operative Christianity represents the exact science of salvation. Consider, if you will, the profundity of the thought, the exact science of salvation. All over the world the cry goes up, "What does God expect of me?" No one seems to know, and those who teach are as ignorant as those who listen. The time has come when the world must realize the true function of religion, and just what position it occupies in the plan of human progress. The world must now consider religion from a hitherto unfamiliar viewpoint. It must consider religion in the light of an exact science and must not cease its search after the fundamental principles of religion until it has discovered the keys to the mystery of life, as these lie buried under the debris of theology's fallen house. Space will only permit a consideration of one of these secret keys, namely, the place occupied by the functions and parts of the human body in relationship to the exact science of individual salvation. According to the secret teaching, each individual must work out with diligence his own destiny and salvation. As the Christian and Essene mysteries were fundamentally similar to those of the Greeks, we will clothe our story in the terminology of the Greek mysteries,